We've got 1,025 hectares now, and with about 980 effective, because there's lots of stone heaps and quite a lot of timber, shelter belts and plantations. The sheep we had this year, about 5,000 ewes and their replacements. The rest are Coopworth ewes with some crossbred Texel Friesian. There are 180 breeding cows and their replacements, and we will kill 800 bulls, 2.5-year-olds, and the rest will be 18-month-old bulls. Some born here, some brought in. And we brought in 1,000 weaner deer and had some carried over, so we had about 1,200 deer wintered. My great-grandfather bought the place in 1876, and in 1956 some Morrows, part of that division, sold to Nicky's father. We started with 700 acres and we've got about 2,500 now. We were really concerned that the sustainability was a problem with 700 acres. So while the children were young, we really put our heads down. Yeah. Didn't go out, head down, work, no holidays. And we were prepared to give things a go.
I was only 3 months old when my parents bought the neighbouring farm, and ever since I could, I think my first words would have been, "Daddy, wait," as those big long legs took off, and I had to struggle behind them, and I have been farming ever since I could walk. So I'm absolutely passionate about farming. I always have been. I've never got sick of it. That's what I do every day. I went to Lincoln and did a dip ag. Luckily, as it turned out, I married the neighbour, and as fate would have it, years later we managed to buy it, and here we are.
You haven't come very far, have you?
No.
Probably about 12 years ago we decided to throw the plough away and direct to oil. One was labour, and two, our results from conventional ploughing and working were only average, I thought. And then we had the additional problem with the boulders. Researching it thoroughly, and we take an old paddock out and spray it with Roundup and Versatile for winter feed this is, and we've always had good crops, always.
The rocks have always been here, and they're mainly sitting on top of the ground, and of course it's very expensive on gear and things, the rocks, so they really have to be gathered up.
We have considered organics after visiting a property at Waimate, and this one in particular would be very easy to go to do organics, because it's very easily split. The property needs a balance in livestock of sheep and cattle, and with organics that seems to work well together, just for animal health reasons. The Mondo Farm program that we were involved with a few years ago certainly kept us focused on quality and production. Our lamb growth rates post-weaning have been quite good.
Mark's father and my mother were great tree planters, and my mother in particular was always out planting trees out in the paddock, and so I have personally stuck to English oaks in a lot of the planting that I have done, mainly because they're so robust, and I must admit that would have been lovely to plant some more natives, but the natives need to be planted in September after the frosts, and we're always so busy with lambing. I always do a lambing beat, and I think last year was the first year ever that we didn't put a new shelter pot in. Every year we've put in at least one or two, depending on our fencing program. We very much live in a community, so which is special. We work together, and I suppose we play together. So we have a lot of friends around us that we've been through the tough times and the good times with.
With the big push into dairying at the moment, of course we look at it. I'm thinking farm succession, I'm thinking cash flow, I'm thinking maybe splitting the farm. It's quite big enough to have two properties. If one was part dairying, and with the irrigation proposal that's been put to us, if it goes ahead, we'd be silly if we didn't take up some irrigation, and to take the benefits of that we could well have to dairy part of the farm. And I would hope in the very near future we'll be able to see light at the end of the tunnel as far as the sheep industry goes. It'd be a very sad day for New Zealand if that's not the case, because it's just not necessary.
You actually have to make money to be sustainable.
Yes.
In our case, with our expansion, was to borrow, pay off, pay tax, borrow again for the next one, and have that self-control to borrow, pay off and borrow again. Because at the end of the day we end up with not a humongous mortgage, but something that's sustainable. And in actual fact, right presently we're running a very sustainable business along that line.